Cruise.
The 710 KURV People Poll is brought to you by Total Imaging Solutions. Visit them to claim your free color photocopier.
You get a text when you're driving. You think, I'll just give it a glance. A text message takes about 4 seconds to read. 4 seconds, your eyes are not focused on the road. At highway speeds, that's like driving the length of a football field, blindfolded. What if something came out of nowhere? A car crossing the road, a red light at a busy intersection, brake lights ahead. Don't let your phone blind you. When you're driving, put the phone away. Talk, text, crash. A message from TxDOT.
Broadcasting from the Valley's commercial and fleet headquarters studio at PayneAutoGroup.com. You're listening to News Talk 710 KURV. From the Radio United Broadcast Center, this is the Sergio Show. Talking about the news headlines and topics that affect you. And now, the Sergio Show with Sergio Sanchez.
Happy Friday, the Sergio Show on 710 KURV. I'm your humble host, Sergio Sanchez, and show producer Fred Cruz, the top news talk radio producer in the mighty state of Texas. At least I know talk radio in Texas. I know what this dude does to pay his bills and feed his family daily. And right now he's like juggling like 60 things right now, including fantasy football, which now he's participating in because football's back, right? How'd you do last night with the Texan Raider game?
Fantasy football didn't start till week 1.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
Because it's preseason. So
yeah,
it doesn't count.
I don't know any of that. I just see you back there with your bracket.
I mean, you have to be like really dedicated. We do a preseason fantasy football.
Yeah, or you don't have a job, something like that.
That's true.
Or you have a job where you delegate to everybody else. Like around here, you can't delegate to anybody.
No, there is nobody else to delegate.
Don't delegate to me, dude. We'd be off air in an instant. All right.
I'll delegate to you, but you'll delegate back to me.
There we go. Hey, Freddie, can you do this? Sure.
Serge, but you do this first.
That's your problem, Freddie. You can't say no. That is your problem. You can't say no. You care too much. You love too much. Yeah. That's my buddy. That's my brother, Fred Cruz. Okay, so let me share with you some audio, ask you a question real quick, and I want to say thank you to Michael Burr, my brother in arms in talk radio from H-Town. He and I grew up kind of similar. He was in the piney woods of East Texas. If you hear Michael Burr, Michael Berry, weeknight 6 p.m. to 8 p.m., go check out his podcast. It is awesome. It really is. The second best producer in News Talk Radio is Ramon, his producer. And they piece together program segments from the Michael Berry Show and interviews. And it's when he does interviews, he doesn't do interviews just with anybody. He knows a lot of people. And whether it's politics or military issues or life issues, I know he does a lot of Houston-centric stuff, but not as much as he used to. That Michael Berry's being syndicated nationwide, so he does a lot of national stuff. Michael Burr, that's how I refer to him. He posted something. He said he doesn't post stuff like this very often, and I know he doesn't because he puts more pictures of his scraggly, ugly-looking beard, and is in a little cartoon of him putting up his feet, bare feet, on the computer board or his desk, than actually, putting up political stuff. But on this one, we all have to play defense. Look, there's a misinformation campaign, and it's politics. And in politics, and somebody buys the advertising, they can say whatever the hell they want. And I've been telling you for days now. James Telefrico, and there's a reason we call him Frico, because this guy is a freak, not in the good sense. This guy is the worst sense of a freak, political freak. He's everything 180 degrees polar opposite to Texas values. The guy is an uber radical, crazy leftist, communist sympathizer. If I could say pro-crime, because he's like the other day, he was defending this Carmelo Anthony kid. Say he got a bad rap. Why? Because there wasn't a single black juror in the jury. Really? Well, you think black people are that stupid that we need black people in order to allow criminals to walk? There was new information, by the way, that was released in North Texas, and I'll share that at the bottom of the hour during the news. Just like shocking information. Gentlemen's agreement between the prosecutors and the defense of stuff that they were not going to be sharing in the Carmelo Anthony trial. This guy wanted blood. This guy wanted to kill somebody. The ex-girlfriend told that to investigators. Anyway, I'll share that later. I want to play this audio because my friend, the czar of talk radio, Michael Berry, weeknights 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. on KURV. And he has christened me the chairman of talk radio. I don't use that enough. I really should. So here's Mike. We're going to put a little bit of audio out there. The question to you, are you a Christo-fascist? If you believe in traditional values, if you believe in traditional marriage, if you are not in the LGBTQ XYZ camp and waving the flag and doing all that crazy stuff, let them live. They live one life and then the judgment. That is truth. It's not what I believe. That is truth. You live one life and there's judgment. And they have every right. The gays, the LGBTQ, the trans, as long as they're not hurting kids, they have every right to live the way they wish. Atheists, Muslims, whoever, they have every right. Everybody has a right to live the way and be happy in this country. When one life to live, but then there will be judgment. But this dude, James Telefrico, labels you a hater, hate monger, and a phobe of this, phobe of that, homophobe, whatever. He's in that camp. The objective of the leftists is to seize power and make you bend a knee, just like they almost did during the Biden administration. This whole use of pronouns, improper use of pronouns, spewing hate online, and the simple things that you either share or that you post your opinions. Yeah, they don't believe in free speech. You must adhere to what they believe in, or they will, like James Telefrico right here, referring to you as a Christo-fascist, because you're not aboard with the LGBTQ XYZ 123 agenda. I'm not. More than likely, you're listening. You're not. But you just want to let these folks live. Let them live. Let me live. Oh, no. The agenda from the leftists, the radicals like James Telefrico, is to impose and make you bend a knee. Currently, in this world, there are people being prosecuted for the stuff that they post. Currently, in this world, they misgender somebody. They're being prosecuted. They're being arrested. That's the agenda. That's what they want to bring to this country. That's why a freak like this, and God help us, God save us. I hope your family members and friends are not falling for the standard advertising that's on the Channel 5, Channel 4, the local TV channels, and advertising, painting him as a moderate, painting him as a good boy, Christian moderate, nice man. Are you a Christo-fascist? Well, if you don't believe in the radical leftist ideas that James Telefrico does, yeah, that's precisely what you are. Got some audio for you, Freddie.
You saw it in the anti-LGBTQ legislation, including the bill that would have denied gender-affirming health care to...
Well, no más. Gender-affirming health care. Ain't no damn thing as gender-affirming health care. There's mental illness. And in the case of children, which he advocates for, the snip, tuck, slice, mutilation of children's genitals for the affirming what they believe they are. They're called tomboys or effeminate little boys. In the end, they straighten out, then they become regular men and women. I know he's aboard this crap, this satanic confusion. Be careful now. You warn your family and friends of James Telefrico. This guy should be nowhere near the U.S. Senate representing Texas next year.
You saw it in the anti-LGBTQ legislation, including the bill that would have denied gender-affirming health care to trans children.
Oh, no más.
And then, of course, infamously, we saw it last session with the most extreme abortion ban in the country. All these ideologies stem from this Christo-fascism movement.
Oh, no más. Christo-fascism. That's what you are. You're Christo-fascist. You believe in the right for babies to be born and not to be murdered and sliced up in the womb. And you do not believe that children, their genitals should be mutilated in the name of this LGBTQ plus trans idea, this ideology, that children can choose their gender. They don't even know what they're going to be when they grow up, either an astronaut or a nurse or a doctor. But no, they can choose at age 5, 6, or 7 because of idiot parents and evil doctors and adults in their lives who are willing to submit these children to get their genitals chopped off. That's where this guy is. Tell your family, tell your friends, do not fall for it. Be careful. This guy is a freak. Anyway, enough on that. Let me go pay some bills because I got plenty of audio to clear right now. Some of the audio, let's pay some bills now, Freddie, and I'm going to come back with Tanya. She's covering that case, that heartbreaking case where this woman is being prosecuted for strangling her three kids or three babies, like two older kids, like little ones, and then her newborn babies. The defense is postpartum depression or psychosis. And we'll share the audio of that conversation with my friend Tanya J. Powers covering the case next on the Sergio Show on 710 KURV. This hour of the program is service of Chamberlain Roofing and Waterproofing.
It's Fighting Texas Aggies football. Tune in for the 2026 home opener, Saturday, September 5th. Kickoff at 6 p.m.
It is a touchdown, Aggies!
On your home for Aggies football. News Talk 710 KURV. Gang 'em, Aggies!
That sound? A melon field at dawn. It's where Monica de la Cruz's abuelo worked to feed his family. That's a steam press in the back of a dry cleaner's. That's where Monica pressed shirts, working her way through college, and eventually a small business of her own. But today, the American dream costs more. Monica's fighting back. Our voice in Congress, Monica de la Cruz voted to end the tax on tips, passed no tax on overtime, and made sure seniors keep more of their Social Security. For a South Texas family, that's up to $11,000 a year back in your pocket. More dinners out, more celebrations, more moments together. Monica de la Cruz, fighting in Congress for our American dream.
I'm Monica de la Cruz, and I approve this message.
Paid for by Monica for Congress.
It's Ram Truck Month. Lease a new 2026 Ram 1500 Laramie 4x4 for only $595 a month. Plus, get Ram's 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty at Payne Rio in Rio Grande City, Ed Payne Motors in Weslaco, Payne Alice, and Payne Edinburgh. Your Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, Ram dealers in the Rio Grande Valley and throughout southern Texas. Locate to get us regardless.
Looking for a flexible part-time opportunity with a fun, fast-paced media company? Radio United is hiring a part-time sales coordinator. If you are organized, enjoy working with people, and have great computer and communication skills, bilingual preferred, we'd love to meet you. Help support our sales team, work with local businesses, and be a part of a company that connects communities every day. Apply now by sending your resume to human resources at radiounited.com. Join our team and help make an impact. Radio United is an equal opportunity employer.
The new All-Pro Battery by Steel. Tackle any task with 60% more peak power. Exclusively available only at your local steel dealer. 60% peak power comparison between AP300PC and AP300S.
Covering the Valley and the entire world on the World Wide Web. Log on KURV.com. News Talk 710 KURV.
Time is 9:19. The Sergio Show on News Talk 710 KURV, presented this hour by Chamberlain Roofing and Waterproofing. Coming up in the 10 o'clock hour, a weekly conversation, new segment here at KURV, the Sergio Show. I'm so grateful that there's a local ministry that is serving up God's Word every Friday, 10 o'clock hour. You know how like the neurologist, you get your head banged up, you wind up at the ER, and the neurologist puts a pen. Okay, follow this pen. Follow left and right. Left and follow the pen. See if you're okay. Yeah, it's like, yeah. Let's focus on Jesus. Follow Jesus. Let's go left and right. Follow. Let's focus on eternal truth. And I'm thankful for his segment, and also opening up for questions. It is Take Heart with Dr. Ruben Martinez and Dr. Ruben. Pastor Ruben, coming up at 10:10 on the Sergio Show. And we got Astros baseball this weekend, tonight, 6:40 broadcast. They're hosting the A's. So they lost the series to the worst team in the West, the Angels, and got embarrassed, obliterated, assaulted by the Angels last night. That is like the worst team in the American League West, the Astros. The Angels beat the Astros. Now they got the second worst team, the A's. Come on, boys, wake up. You need to start winning if you're going to win the West. Astros baseball tonight, 640 broadcast on 710 KURV. Big thank you to Dr. T's Primary Care for Men and Women. Or know someone who has this week. It's a shocking, heartbreaking case of a mom accused of strangling her three babies, her three kiddos. It's a trial, the trial of Lindsay Clancy. And Tanya J. Powers, Fox News, has been following as much as possible, trying to get information on how this case has been winding in court. So what can you tell us today on this, as far as people showing up to support her outside the courtroom? And I guess the case is moving forward to close here pretty soon.
Yeah, yesterday morning, there were hundreds, about 300 women and some men that gathered outside the courthouse there in Plymouth, Massachusetts, where this trial's been going on. Their supporters wearing pink. A lot of them had clothes emblazoned with phrases like "Peace for Lindsay," "She needed help," "Believe." They say that they're trying to raise awareness about, the mental health system and how it treats women. They've said that her story has resonated with them. And by the way, they weren't the only ones. We understood from the list of cities that we had, there were multiple cities in different states that had these gatherings, these silent gatherings of Clancy supporters yesterday morning, and some in different times of the day yesterday, but the majority of them yesterday morning around 7:45 a.m. Eastern. Also in other countries, they were held. So this has resonated with people, not just there in Plymouth, where the trial is being held, but also in other places. It's sparked a larger conversation, well, I guess worldwide at this point, about postpartum psychosis and the effect it has on women, and how that is treated when when someone has this. The whole gist of the trial, I mean, she's pleaded not guilty. This has gone on for quite a while now. This is like almost a month. I think this is the 18th day of testimony in the trial. She is accused of killing her three young children in January of 2023, strangling them at the family's home there in a Boston suburb. Her lawyer has argued that she was suffering from postpartum psychosis when she strangled them, and then attempted to take her own life by jumping out a second floor window of the family's home. He has not disputed that that she did this. He's basically saying, here's what's going on. She's pleaded not guilty by reason of insanity. Like I said, prosecutors take a different stance with this. Obviously, they argue that she is criminally responsible for murdering her kids. They say that she had, worked to get her husband out of the house so she could do this. She sent him to pick up medicine for one of the kids and also some dinner. And that's, when she decided to do this, that's the prosecution stance on this. So yeah, it's really an interesting case that a lot of people have paid attention to, especially, like I said, a lot of women who this postpartum psychosis part of this has really gotten a lot of attention.
I don't know if you discovered this in some of the write-ups and interviews, but why did prosecutors move to on these murder charges? Because it has been the fact that she was being treated and given some type of rotation combination of antidepressants, that's out there. It's been verified. She was being treated for, as some would say, severe postpartum anxiety, depression, right? That was real in her. That was something she was dealing with, and she was being treated for. Why did the prosecutors move a case of murder against her? Has anyone said?
That's a good question. I'm not sure of the answer. I mean, and you're right. I mean, her lawyer says she repeatedly sought help before all of this happened. She went to several different outpatient providers. She tried the drugs that they prescribed. She called a suicide hotline. She went to an emergency room. She checked herself into a psychiatric hospital. I mean, there have been multiple accounts of her trying to get help, for this and having to, try different things to deal with it. That is a really good question. I'm not sure about what their strategy was about this. If they just went by, okay, there are 3 children who have died. The mother is, the one that was at home with them at the time. I mean, I'm not sure exactly, if there anything else factored into this or not, but that is kind of where things are at this point. Now, the defense is expected to call one more witness today and then is expected to rest today. The prosecution, of course, will then have their chance at a rebuttal. And from what we understand, they plan to call 3 expert witnesses. So it's possible that the testimony, before the jury could end the day, could all be wrapped up. We'll have to see how fast things go and if anything, slows all that down to make them drag that into Monday.
Yeah, going back to what you were explaining here towards the end, like she told the husband, go get dinner, go to this, go get my medicines. Like, I suppose premeditation and coordination to do the deed, maybe that's what the prosecutors, maybe that's how they built the case, tried to build a case against her, that she, and she acted intentionally and rationally. She coordinated the killing of these children. Maybe that's what it was. I don't know. Let's see what happens later today. Thank you, T, for the report. That's Tanya J. Powers for Fox News. A sidebar mention. Look, I'm not paying it. I normally don't pay attention to these high-profile murder cases or that. I don't stomach stuff like this. Is just my personal. I know this is fodder for conversation, water cooler conversation, coffee maker conversation at the office. That's fine. I know some of y'all are really into stuff like this. I'm not into cheese as well. I have friends who tell me, you're in the wrong business, Vato. you're in the news business. Yeah, I'm not into cheese. I'm not into like, and I thank God I'm at KURV because I can get away with doing more business and education and medical and academic conversations. But this story is a heart wrencher. I just, on the periphery, I kind of been keeping an eye on it. And I say this because I didn't know till this morning, Freddie, that this woman is paralyzed. And why is she paralyzed? Because she jumped from her 2nd-story window at her house. Está loca. She's crazy. And yes, I do lean in the direction. I know there was a round criticism of all these white, they're calling liberal white women that are defending her outside the courthouse. Postpartum depression is just awful, ugly. It's tragic. It's real. And this woman, all these reports of her begging for help before she killed her kids, all these drugs that this lady was on, this one was nuts. This woman jumped out of her 2nd-story window. She is paralyzed. She's on a wheelchair. She can't move from the waist down. And for those who are saying this is a failure of mental health professionals, so-called professionals who were attending to her, there might be something to that. This is just a heartbreaking tragedy all around. Somebody told me this morning, I think it was our friend who visited us, that her mother-in-law, you think that her mother-in-law would be her worst enemy, right? Because, well, she killed her grandbabies, all 3 of them, strangled them. Just an awful murder, awful killing. Her mother-in-law is one of her big defenders testifying on her behalf in court. Oh, Lord Jesus, man. Have mercy on her and have mercy on everybody that's dealing with the situation. And it does not look good for the prosecutor. I don't know why you would prosecute a case like this. I just, somebody with the credentials and legal affairs, or at the prosecutor's office, the district attorney's office, would need to explain that one to me. This woman was nuts. She was on multiple medications. She jumped from 2nd-story window. She's paralyzed because of her craziness. I think her older kiddo was maybe around 3 or 4 years old from what I saw, right? It seemed to be like back to back to back. And the picture that they showed, right, Freddie? Like the older one looked like maybe 4 years old, 5 years old. And then like a middle one, maybe like 3. And then this newborn. So, puros guamazos. This woman. Anyway, we'll just let this case proceed. I just want to put in my 2 cents because I did not know. It's so easy to judge, and we shouldn't from a distance. We're not in the trial. We don't know the specifics. I just know this woman, she tried to kill herself, and she was drug up to her eyeballs. All right. I want to say thank you to not only our listeners on radio, which, by the way, I found an interesting survey from the ratings people from Nielsen and the guys at the evil empire, iHeart. It was Clear Channel, right? iHeart was Clear Channel at one time, Freddie? Yeah. The evil empire. And I say that because, they just kind of swallowed up all these stations, threw a bunch of people in the street, lots of talent, sales talent, on-air talent. Anyway, that's the way things are done. That's as business. They're a behemoth. Billboards and concerts and stations and all that. Anyway, they went a quick survey. 80% of Gen Z, which would be mid-90s to early 2000s, right? Gen Z, 80% listen to radio. That's like way up there, what I thought. Seems like they're getting tired of accumulating their playlists. And 90%, Nielsen says 90% of teenagers today are listening to radio. That'd be mostly music radio, not like talk radio. But hey, those are amazing numbers. Anyway, time is 9:32. Thank you if you're joining us on 710 KURV YouTube. Thank you if you're joining us on 710 KURV X, 710 KURV YouTube, Facebook. Yeah, I hate Facebook. It's a necessary evil. Thanks for joining us, Eric. You missed any of the conversation, you can rewind the broadcast and go there. What do you say? Go back all day. The Sergio Show on Newstalk 710 KURV. This hour of the program is service of Chamberlain Roofing and Waterproofing.
We're your home for Houston Astros baseball. News Talk 710 KURV, bringing you every weeknight and every weekend matchup. Start with the Astro Launch pregame show, followed by every crack of the bat, every hit, every home run. Then stay tuned for complete postgame coverage and analysis. The stars, the storylines, and the excitement. Powered by Dr. T's Primary Care for Men and Women and the Rio Grande Valley's home for Houston Astros baseball. News Talk 710 KURV.
Are you in the market for a new Toyota or pre-owned Toyota? Look no further than Toyota of Far. They have extensive selection of Toyota cars and Toyota trucks and Toyota SUVs, along with exceptional customer service every step of the way. Number to call, 956-815-2285.
When you're finally off the clock after a long day, dishes put away, kids asleep, feet kicked up, heartburn. Don't let heartburn take over your hard-earned moment. Quick, Alka-Seltzer. Nothing works faster for heartburn relief. Alka-Seltzer effervescent tablets begin neutralizing stomach acid in seconds, so you can get back to your one more episode marathon. Quick, Alka-Seltzer. Because nothing works faster for heartburn relief. Use as directed.
You make one call and you can have top experts, I would say the top experts in commercial roofing systems, visiting all your different offices, office buildings, warehouses, multi-level buildings. Make sure that your building is waterproof, at least from the roofing perspective. As you get a gully washer sometime in the near future, and you know it's coming back with a vengeance, all this rain, heavy rain, pounding rain. They'll take advantage of a little crevice, a little crack here and there, and then you'll start seeing that drip, drip, drip. There you are, embarrassingly taking buckets, try to capture that water in the middle of some storm. That's embarrassing. Embarrassing that you as the manager, you folks who operate a business are having to depend on you to manage the business. You're not getting the job done. Even worse, your clients, either your tenants, are having to deal with a water leak coming down from the roof because you didn't call Chamberlain to check, see if everything's okay, and just do a little patchwork. Maybe there's nothing that needs to be done, but you need to know if your roofing system is up to par, up to speed to get the job done, which would be repel all water that hits it. And a major thunderstorm, whatever it is, hurricane, whatever. Chamberlain Roofing Waterproofing would like to check those commercial roofing systems. Gratis, free, no expense to you. Make sure that you're good to go the next time you get an Olympic-sized pool of water, all that amount dropping down at you, and like within just a few minutes, pounding rain. Chamberlain Roofing Waterproofing, free, gratis, no expense to you. Full report inspection of your commercial roofing system. And that way you make a new friend. 956-655-6178.
Freedom is calling, and the savings are bigger than ever at the Toyota Far Freedom Sales Event. Drive home an all-new Tacoma for just $92 a month, a powerful Tundra for $177 a month, a stylish Camry for only $92 a month, or a versatile RAV4 for just $189 a month. Visit Toyota Far at 1625 West Interstate 2 in Far, shop online at toyotafar.com or call 946-815-2285.
Toyota Far, somos buena gente.
For victims of drunk and drug driving, your grief is unique, but you are not alone. You always have a place at MAD. Call the 24-hour victim helpline at 877-MAD-HELP or visit mad.org.
Fox News, I'm CJ Papa. Day 18 could be the final day of testimony in the trial of a mom from Massachusetts who's accused of killing her 3 children.
Lindsay Clancy's defense plans to rest today following testimony from psychiatrist Dr. Philip Resnick, who has studied why parents kill their children. The jury must decide if Lindsay Clancy had the capacity to appreciate that her actions were wrong or the ability to stop herself from killing her 3 kids.
Fox's Brian Yennis outside the courthouse. President Trump isn't saying, "Where's the beef?" He's saying, "Here's the beef," announcing the U.S. will import more ground beef over the next 90 days to lower prices. The beef expected to be sold at 25% below current market prices, giving consumers a break. Vice President J.D. Vance returns later today to his hometown in Ohio to discuss the U.S. economy. America is listening to Fox News.
Your 710 KURV AccuWeather forecast. Mostly sunny, breezy. Highs from 101 to 107. Southeast winds 10 to 20 miles an hour. Breezy tonight. Clear and warm. Lows in the upper 70s to low 80s. Hot with hazy sunshine Saturday. Highs 100 to 106. Sunny and hot. Breezy in the afternoon Sunday. The high up to 104. I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Jason Caterina on the Valley's official weather station, 710 KURV.
Broadcasting from the Valley's commercial and fleet headquarters studio at PayneAutoGroup.com. You're listening to News Talk 710 KURV. The Sergio Show with Sergio Sanchez. Rapid fire headlines.
Stand by, Freddie. Make sure. Let me check on my end. I want to make sure that all the settings are correct. Okay, there's that. Here's this. I got some audio for you, buddy. Here we go. A fascinating story on how artificial intelligence chatbots are interacting with our kids. There are some disturbing examples, tragic examples of how some kids, here's one coming up in mere seconds. One kid got all caught up, absorbed by an AI. An AI chatbot sounds like a person talking to you. It's that good. If you create this chatbot, you can have interaction with it. It sounds like speaking with the human being. The problem is it's a cold, soulless, amoral machine that will just generate conversation, and kids are falling into relationships with AI chatbots. So lawmakers up in Austin are considering new online restrictions for artificial intelligence chatbots that interact with children.
Greg Abbott's office is Amazon's chosen Austin for what they describe.
I got the wrong one for it. Let me make sure. I made you wait all that time for this. Here we go.
Maureen Molak lost her 16-year-old son to suicide after months of being cyberbullied. She testified at the state capitol about the horrors children are facing interacting with chatbots. She shared the story of Megan Garcia, who lost her 14-year-old son to suicide at the urging of a chatbot.
The online relationship involved romantic and explicit chat that encouraged suicidal thoughts, with the bot asking Sewell to come home to me.
Molak told State House members Texas needs to lead the nation on tougher online restrictions for kids.
Turn off dangerous algorithms for minors, require more parental tools, and pass a robust chatbot bill to address this emerging technology.
In Austin, Chris Fox, News Talk 710 KURV.
I'm a parent too. I mean, you gotta. Deli and I obsessed. We played defense, especially with our 14-year-old, and like going online to play games. And you have strangers that are playing games on it. That's a no-no. That is not allowed in our house. Only his friends. And that's just game communities, or whatever you call them, where they play video games. These chatbots sound like girls, sound like women. can develop relationships. Children should. You got to. In other words, you got to be a parent. Be a parent. Make sure your kids aren't doing that crap online. Anyway. They're working on laws for this. We don't need laws to be parents. We need parents to be parents. Okay, off the soapbox. Okay, from that shocking story, and I'm playing this one because I promised this to you at the beginning of the program on the Carmelo Anthony case in North Texas. Yesterday there were some shocking revelations at that Collin County courthouse as this convicted murderer, teen murderer, this black kid, Carmelo Anthony, who killed that white kid, stabbed him in the heart. He's seeking a new judge over the case.
Most of the testimony today surrounded the gentleman's agreement that kept details about both Carmelo Anthony and Austin Metcalf out of the trial. Prosecutors revealed that Anthony's ex-girlfriend went to an assistant principal the day of the murder to say she was worried Anthony was stalking her. The prosecution showed texts from Anthony that said he was on the verge and fantasizing about stabbing someone. The defense says the victim, Austin Metcalf, had been disciplined in the past for racist graffiti. As to the complaint that cameras were not allowed in the first trial, the prosecution claimed they were receiving an unbelievable amount of death threats that had everyone involved scared. Testimony will continue tomorrow.
Yeah, that'd be today. That report was filed yesterday. That's Austin, New York. Oh, and that's not the half of it, Freddie. Oh. Carmelo Anthony fantasized about stabbing someone and, quote, wanting to lick the blood off the blade. I love that. Okay. That was 9:42, the Sergio Show on Newstalk 710 KURV. How do I rinse out of this, Freddie? Let me mention Astros. They got murdered yesterday. Astros back. They're still home. They lost to the worst team in the AL West. Chihuahuas. Que vergüenza. Now they play the second worst team in the AL West. So they're maybe, I hope not. Come on, wake up, boys. You're still in first. Astros baseball tonight, 6:40 broadcast on 710 KURV, made possible by Dr. T's Primary Care for men and women. We invite you to join us on 710 KURV, Facebook 710 KURV, X 710 KURV, YouTube Live. If you miss any of the reports or conversations, very easy. Just hop aboard YouTube Live KURV and rewind. Go listen to what you missed. And you will not want to miss this conversation right now. The future congressman for District 34, Texas, Eric Flores, is back in the studio.
Thanks for having me back, Sergio. Glad to be here.
Man, I'm loving that shirt. Right there. Yeah, that's like UTRGV colors right there. Right? I'm a little colorblind. Right, Freddie? No. It's red?
Yeah, it's red. It's bright red. It's okay, though. We still love you, Sergio. Yeah.
I suck. To me, that's orange. I'm serious, buddy. I'm not kidding. I'm like, hey, look at that, UTRGV colors. That's red.
Yeah, it's bright red.
Let's see.
Republican red.
Yeah. which makes more sense. Oh my goodness. Eric, welcome back.
Thanks for having me. Sergio.
Okay, so it's been a pretty busy few days for you.
Yeah,
right?
It sure has. A lot of travel. I got to spend some time with the speaker at his retreat, and which was last week, and then back in district, had some secretaries in, which is awesome. We got to really cue in the administration as to how important South Texas is. We've not had a voice in DC for the past 10 years in Congressional District 34. And, I'm doing it as a candidate now, which is totally awesome. And I thank the president and the administration for that.
It would be really nice if we actually had access to the White House, a voice in Washington to speak on our behalf at a time that is, it's a pivotal time in our history.
Sure it is.
We're seeing economic investment, private sector. We're on the map, thanks to Elon Musk in large part, and the rocket launches. I would say that's a big part of it. But
100%.
The Port of Brownsville and all the blessings that we see coming this way. So again, because when we had the labor secretary talking about the workforce, that Pell Grant, the trade type, those career and trade like welders and pipe fitters, scaffold. Electricians, plumbers, you name it. There's now a workforce Pell Grant to provide money for that. I know the labor secretary was down here promoting that, and he had a chance to speak with other top chiefs that came there. So review some of that. That is based on the economy, economic growth, and the training that we need.
Yeah, let's start with Secretary Wright, Secretary of Energy, came down here. got to visit the Port of Brownsville, and a lot of people, kudos to Port of Corpus Christi. They're doing a great job. They are probably a couple of years ahead of Port of Brownsville. But what people don't realize is Port of Brownsville, they have so much land. They're not landlocked. So, you have a blank canvas. You see Saronic coming in. You see Car Power coming in. And, they're really prioritizing the commissioners as well as the port director, Mr. Dietrich. They're prioritizing shipbuilding, and that's where things are going to be heading in the future, right? We cannot let China or anybody else, build more ships in the United States. Nobody can have dominance over the waters. We need to do that, and I think that's what they're prioritizing. And that's what Secretary Wright, saw firsthand, and quite impressed. He's, right away recognized, number one, we have the talent. Number two, we have, a lot of hardworking individuals, that are at that port. Definitely with that innovation mindset, that building mindset that we need. He was quite impressed. And he's looking to really prioritize the Port of Brownsville, and I'm happy about that. And then we have the, Secretary of Labor, who it was great. We were able to set it up where he visited SpaceX, right, where he got to hear that a lot of the local welders and fitters and cleaners, for those major parts of that Starship, they're all from the Valley.
Yeah.
They're coming to work in the Valley, so they're putting dollars back in the community. And then he saw the programs like at, Texas Southmost College, right, TSC, that are filling those jobs at LNG, Next Decade, SpaceX. And, TSC said it right. We have the people to go do those jobs. What we need is the training. We need the resources. That's what they really emphasized to him. And I full-heartedly believe he's going to go back and release a lot of the money for programs like TSC, TSTC, to have the ability not to wait once the jobs get here. Because by that point, Sergio, it's too late, right? We need to be able to forecast, okay, hey, you know what? We have some jobs coming in. We need to start building around them now so that when they get here, it's a direct pipeline.
And to have those, to have that curriculum up and running, that would be copy paste for any other industry that would be coming to the area.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we're just getting started. I got friends watching activity at the port, and folks from leadership at City Hall and economic development, and we're just getting started because, as going back to what you were saying, which is something that they always repeat, which is the top hit that we should be playing over and over like a top song. And I appreciate you guys listening to Talk Radio and staying informed of this, because it's kind of scary to look how far behind we are compared to China when it comes to shipbuilding. These dudes, and I'm not exaggerating. When they told me it was like an 80-to-1 ratio.
Oh, yeah.
80 China, 1 U.S. It's almost that bad. And we need to start working. We need to start building our own ships, which, if it's not only ships, imagine all the other type of maritime craft. We have the Navy's largest shipyard coming for those suicide little boats that they're going to do, right? Right, the little drone boats. We could very easily, and I know they're out there seeking bids to build submarines. Imagínate. So if we get all that synergy put in place between the junior colleges, the university for engineering programs, even the high schools, I think at the high school level, we had Dr. Dan King, which we'll feature that conversation next hour. We need that synergy because it's workforce training dollars. It's, yes, the economic development office, the recruiters at the port, and it's the school districts and the university. They all need to be on the same page. We need leadership to make that happen. And we need a voice up in Washington to be able to knock on the president's door. Mr. President, hey, Mr. President, let's get it done. Yeah. We need to create that synergy between
that's what I emphasize. When I was with the speakers retreat, I got to talk to President Gwen Shotwell. She's actually the president of SpaceX. And, I said, look, as your next congressman, she was asking me, what do you think that we should be doing? And I said, well, first off, we need to really embrace the community of Brownsville. That's number one. But number two, we need to start the programs a lot earlier. I said, here, right? Yes. She goes, well, what do you mean by that? I said, well, we need to get down to the high school, middle school, high school level and start developing those pipelines. You all are not short of money. Why are we not creating those pipelines now? Why are we not going to the school district and not letting them create their own curriculum, but creating the curriculum directly to what they need, right? They're welding with lasers, Sergio. Why can't we go ahead and do that right now? hey, middle school, plant the little seed, then you're watering the seed in high school. And then by the time they get there, they're ready to go.
It exists, man. It's like we had the blessing and honor to work with Edinburgh, for example. And I had a chance to tour some of the welding bays that they have. And that's just one of several examples. They have career and technology programs that has to be put on steroids because our kids in high school, they're leaving, getting 6-figure jobs at the port.
It's funny you say that, Sergio. I say throughout the campaign trail, I think the days are coming to an end when we're sending our kids to Houston, Dallas, Austin, San Antonio. Yes. One of the instructors at TSC, he said, I was tired of having to go to Corpus or the Permian Basin to get a job. Now they're here. But we have to continue to support that. And unfortunately, my opponent, although he claims to be some sort of, part of some sort of Democratic energy caucus, it doesn't exist. There's probably 3 of them who are, part of that, little club.
Because, okay, I'm glad you touched on that. No, it's important to rewind. Why? Because on the Democrat side, what false religion have they completely surrendered to on the global human-produced climate change where you have to unplug from traditional fuels and oils?
I call it the green energy scam, right? And, whether he's part of that caucus or not, let's just say there's 3, I think I'm giving the number too high, right? That there's 3 blue dog Democrats left. Well, man, there's probably 200 others that have now bought into this communist socialist, party. He's not going to be able to combat that. And the fact is, under the Biden administration, they shut down the Keystone Pipeline.
They wanted to shut down liquefied natural gas at the port, Vato. We almost lost our LNG at the port of Brownsville. Imagínate.
So, if people love the industry, the fact is, he's not going to be able to stand up. He hasn't been able to stand up. Even when Biden was in control, what did he do? In fact, just the other day I was talking to somebody about, this interview talking about that he wanted to facilitate this mass immigration, pay for their flights, pay for their housing on this side. And that's what created the border crisis, right? Even saying that he, praising Biden and the no-show border czar, Kamala Harris, they're on the right track. It's wild.
Let me reintroduce. I should have reset a little early. Eric Flores, Republican. He's You're still working, right? You're still working as
I still do. I still practice law
at the federal office.
No. So left the feds. Now I represent predominantly school districts and cities.
So you got your own practice. Local attorney, former prosecutor.
That's right.
For legacy with the feds, and he is the candidate for District 34 Congress. That would be all of Cameron County. Heads up Brownsville. Heads up Harlan. Up the coast. Well, let's see. Up the coast to the Corpus Christi area. We need him in D.C. Republican Eric Flores. And again, it's go time. So tell me about the campaign, who's supporting you, what's coming, endorsements, anything that you want to share.
Said here, we're still picking up endorsements. School board members up in, Nueces County, we're picking up endorsements down here all throughout Clayburgh County. And as those endorsements come out, I think my opponent just, continues to make these threatening calls to them, which is quite wild. I just got one the other day from Clayburgh County. He was like, oh, your opponent is saying this or that. And I said, look, unfortunately, he doesn't have a seat at the table. He's not going to have a seat at the table coming up these next 2 years. He's been there. He had a seat at the table under Biden and didn't do anything. It's time for change. Yeah, basta. And that's what I've been saying. I think people are tired of those politicians who are, keep promising these photo opportunities with these big checks. Well, newsflash to him, people see through the smoke. He's come across and said, these really disrespectful things that, Eric's that do nothing. Well, newsflash, brother, I'm not the elected member of Congress. It's you are, right? It's your voting record that's in question. It's your performance review that's coming November 3rd. And I think a lot of his own base are seeing that. They're tired of him.
We will need like an election, a presidential election year turnout. I know that the district is plus Trump a certain number, forget what it was. But if you're a conservative, if you love America, if you love our traditional values, if you love capitalism, if you want to have a voice in Washington where you can, through your congressman, hopefully, I pray, Lord Jesus, please answer prayer. Eric Flores, to be a Republican congressman for 34, he has to have easy access to the White House, to the commerce chief, to the energy chief, the labor chief, to have easy, because we need that type of leadership immediately at this time when industry is flooding in this direction. Anything else you want to share?
No, absolutely, Sergio. We just need folks to get out. People say, "Hey, Eric, we're praying for you," and definitely much appreciate the prayers for energy, hedge of protection over my family. I mean, the entire campaign team, Sergio. But honestly, I'm praying for every single constituent of the Rio Grande Valley, for folks across 34, 15, and 28, because we need leadership, right? And that's why I say, in return, well, I'm praying for you. Because for me, I mean, I'm going to go back to private practice. I'm going to go back to my beautiful family and being super involved in my church. But I think that we deserve leadership. And that's why I say I'm praying for them. Because this gentleman, he takes, I think he takes credit for the rising of the sun now. I've brought $8 billion and he can say whatever he wants. On time.
Yeah.
I mean, it rains in Harlingen for 10 minutes and you got 17 inches of rain in the Colonias. Same thing in San Benito. I mean, I guess thank you for the parks, but we're deserving of much more, Sergio. The days are coming to an end where Houston and Dallas are these Mecca cities. It's down here. We have the opportunity. We lack the leadership. I asked the people to give me the opportunity to go do that in Congress. And hey, if I turn out to be a big bolo, well, then vote me out. But this guy's been there 10 years, and the facts are he's not passed a single bill. He's only upset his base. He says Vicente con la gente. He's out here backstabbing his own people that he supported. And it's crazy to me. I mean, we need to change. We need to change. Give somebody else an opportunity, somebody with youth, somebody with aggression, and somebody who actually is from the people. I mean, it's that simple. It's not hard. It's not rocket science. You don't have to agree with the president 100%, but I'll tell you what the president does see is that he's paying attention to South Texas finally, and that's what we need. Somebody to go knock on the door and say, this is what we need, and get it done.
What's on your calendar, real quick? What's on your calendar? Next event, a fundraiser?
So I will say I got the Speaker of the House coming to South Texas. Love to have you there, Sergio.
Okay.
August 27th, he's going to hear from constituents down here in the Valley. I have Leader Scalise coming in as well.
Nice.
They are paying attention to South Texas. Send me,
Send the info on that.
Oh, most
Lord
definitely
willing.
will.
I don't know if we can publicize it, but send the info. We'll talk about it later, okay?
Absolutely.
All right, brother.
100%.
Thanks for stopping by.
Sergio, thanks
Soldier
so
on,
much.
brother. Soldier on to victory. Yeah. Eric Flores, Republican, Congress 34. That's Brownsville. Wake up, people, and show up to vote on Election Day. The Sergio Show on 710 KURV.
Tune in weekdays to hear the Brad Sham Dallas Cowboys Report.
Hi again, everyone. This is today's Dallas Cowboys Report. I'm Brad Sham.